Good afternoon. How are you all out there? I'll get it right eventually. I am KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. And welcome to another edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X, and of course, on Roku, courtesy of the BS3 Network. Wise citizens, thank you very much for chiming in. As always, appreciate you and your support. Got a couple of guests lined up for today's show. First guest, Alvin Franklin, not the basketball player from way back in the day of Phi Sigma Gamma, but a younger Alvin Franklin on UH athletics staff in charge of Cougar Pride and fundraising and all those good things. He should be joining me in a few minutes. And then at the bottom of the hour, head coach Shereka Wright, UTA, was a previous guest on a few weeks ago. She said she'd be back once UTA finalized their non-conference schedule. Well, that has been done. So Coach Wright should be joining me around 12:30. So for a few minutes, until Alvin Franklin joins, let's talk about Kevin Porter Jr. and the NBA and the Rockets. What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen with KPJ? What do you think should happen with KPJ? Are his days with the Rockets over? Like I think. Salute to the Rockets trying to trade him, because that's a bold move there, Cotton. That's a bold move. And that's an even bolder move for a team who opts to trade for him. Why in the hell would you do that? So I don't know what to say. Well, let me say this. Tomorrow, September 15th, probably have another edition of the Let's Talk Houston Rockets, so I can talk with more of the members of the Rockets family, talk about it more in detail. But if you haven't heard, where you been? KPJ and the alleged assault of his girlfriend, Kaiser Gondrzek, who I have to say, I knew her dad, Grant Gondrzek. Grant played ball. May he rest in peace. He passed away in 2021. And Grant, he battled his own personal demons. But he could hoop. He could coach. He spent time here in Houston working with John Lucas at the lab. And they were very, very close, Luke and Grant Gondrzek. And Luke and Grant's daughters were close. And I think it has been confirmed that they were indeed. Luke is the godfather of Kaiser and her sister. We'll talk about that afterwards. But on time, as promised, as he said he would, going to bring him in, Mr. Alvin Franklin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for chiming in. Let's see. We saw each other at the Bayou Bucket Luncheon.
Yes.
I shook your hand and I touched on it. And I said, I'd like to get you on the show. And Andrew Pay made it happen. So thank you very much to Andrew, as well as you taking time out to join me today here on the Roundball Review Takeover.
Yes. Thank you.
Folks my pleasure. For folks who don't know who Alvin Franklin is, let everybody know who you are.
Alvin Franklin, as you alluded to, so I am brand new to the University of Houston, coming from Mississippi State University to serve as our Senior Associate Athletic Director and Executive Director of Development, leading the Cougar Pride office here with Houston Athletics.
How long have you been here?
So this is the end of week 3. So
is that all?
Yeah, I started on August 28th.
Wow. Okay. Well, because I think the press release came out in the first part of August, and I mentioned it on this show. I think actually the day of. I think that's when that was released. So it's just been 3 weeks. All right. Well, what are your initial thoughts about H-Town, University of Houston?
So far, things have been amazing. People have been so welcoming. I think, for me being a Southern boy, born and raised in Mississippi, you hear about quote unquote Southern hospitality, and feeling the warmth, when you get into the deep South from people. But I think that it's I don't want to say overrated, but so far since I've been in Houston, I've had just as much or more hospitality in this first 3 weeks I got in Mississippi. The people here have been great. People love their Cougars.
Yes.
Our fan base and donor base is very, they're on top of things. They're very smart and understand really our call to action right now.
And what is a call to action?
So right now, of course, you know, we just went into the Big 12. Of course, there's no secret in it. You have to be under a rock to not know it. So right now, you know, there's a couple of different things. We are, of course, full steam ahead. You know, having to raise money from a facility standpoint. I know people have seen, if they're driven down Cullen, they've seen renovations going on to GVL, to Gabby Lewis practice facility for basketball. But we still have a chunk to knock out to get that project completed. Our new brand new football operations center that's been in the works right now is probably our #1 priority from a fundraising standpoint, because that becomes a game changer, not just for football, but it becomes a game changer for our athletic department as a whole. And so right now those two things are kind of front of mind. And from an operational standpoint, you know, we were in the American Conference and really from a budgetary standpoint, near the top of that league, right at the top of that league from an operating budget standpoint. But now we're in a new league and we know we got four new people coming in next year. Right. And so we're near the bottom of the league from an operational standpoint. So I know our fans and donors, all our stakeholders want us to be competitive in this league, but there's a tall task at hand from a resource standpoint. There's a gap there. And so we're going to have to close that gap and close it pretty fast if we want to keep, you know, making sure we have what we need from a resource standpoint for our student athletes and coaches to have what they need to compete at a high level here.
And I'm not sure if you had a chance to meet Miss Wanda Polk yet, but she is a active UH alum and supporter of this show and supporter of the Houston Roundball Review. And you will meet her at some point. Wanda Polk is almost everywhere UH athletics. So, Mr. Franklin, if you have not met Miss Polk,
I have not.
I think you will. You might meet her Saturday. You know, so yeah, she's everywhere. She tries to support UH athletics any and every chance she gets. So that's a name to jot down for you. So Miss Wanda, see, there you go. See you watching me, so I'm trying to help UH. So
there you go.
It all works together. And I'm a UH alum as well.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Whatever you hear on campus, you know, Chris is a harder program. Yes, I am, because I'm an alum, but I'm fair. Okay. And I've been through it 25 years. So all right. You came from Mississippi State.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Alvin, that's in the SEC. That's the football conference. So why'd you decide to leave there to come to Houston?
The opportunity here to me is one of the you don't get to do this when you sign up to work in college athletics. And I've been a part of some very cool things, of course, in my career. You know, not just at Mississippi State. You know, I started out at UAB. I was there when we were trying to bring the football program back. Okay. So got to see that firsthand. I went to the University of South Alabama, and we built the football stadium. You know, and that's propelled their program now. You know, from having some national prominence. Was at Purdue University and got to see the evolution of Purdue saying, "Hey, we can do this." You know, about 5 years ago, you know, they were known as the academic school. A lot of comparisons to Vanderbilt, and honestly, Purdue had, you know, from a perception standpoint, just vast men's basketball. That's what people thought, and we said, hey, we can be good in everything. And to see, you know, a year ago, see their football team play in the Big Ten championship game, that's something that people would have never thought could happen at a place like that. Okay. And so being there and being a part of that, and then being able to go to Mississippi State, and Mississippi State had a multifaceted role where I led major get fundraising there for athletics, but as you alluded to, football, I was a football sport administrator.
Okay.
and was hands-on and overseeing the day-to-day of Mississippi State football. And when this opportunity came about, the passion, I'm a high energy, passionate guy.
Okay.
And to see the intentionality of alignment between the chancellor and Chris Pesman, and to see like they're not satisfied with just being in the Big 12. Our leadership at our university and our board of regents thinks that we belong in the Big 12, not just, you know, because what's happened gone on the last 30 plus years, but we can compete at a high level and compete for championships and be one of the premier schools in this league. That got me really excited.
Okay.
You know, the cool thing, I've been a bunch of different places, and I just alluded to a bunch of cool experiences. But something that's probably been missing for me is that from a fulfillment standpoint is seeing those things actually come to fruition. You know, being at UAB and you know, raising the money to bring the football program back, but I didn't see the actual return, the first game, and see this. And they've now been at bowl game every year since they brought the program back. But I wasn't there to see it. So it's cool to say I was a part of the, you know, a little bit, but, you know, South Alabama, I never saw the shovel actual go in dirt for the football stadium. You know, at Purdue, I mentioned Purdue. I've like just mentioned, I wasn't there last year when the football team made the Big Ten championship game. And I was a part of the people that set the table, and we had the vision to do it, but I didn't see it. I looked at this as an opportunity where Houston, from a timing standpoint, was just going into the Big 12. And there's a tall mountain for us to climb right now. And I can really be a part of something from start to finish. And that was the attraction to U of H.
And Ms. Polk with a comment. She loves it. High energy, passionate guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Polk. I look forward to meeting. I love meeting people that love their university, love their department. I love that. So I look forward to meeting her.
The challenge. How much of a challenge, in your opinion, in these 3 weeks since you took over, is it for Houston to go from the bottom to middle, top of the Big 12?
Well, there's no secret. Men's basketball, we're there, right? We've seen the success in men's basketball. We've seen our volleyball program succeed at a high level. So a couple of sports have done it, right? We've seen that them compete at a national level. From a challenge standpoint, I think it's not impossible, but we have to change mindset.
All right.
The mindset is not really, you know, our student athletes, of course, they work hard. They're in this, you know, sun up to sundown every day, and our coaches are getting there grinding their war rooms and recruiting and you know, hitting the road and trying to game plan, doing everything they can. But I think from a fan base and donor base perception, that is going to be the biggest challenge, because the perception and the call to action is different now. You know, of course, because let's just be honest, right? We talked about from a revenue standpoint, us being behind, budgetary standpoint. All right. From a Cougar Pride standpoint, for, you know, the last 20 years, or probably longer than that, the Cougar Pride membership has been tied directly to parking and seating. Well, you had, from a stadium standpoint, an arena standpoint, you're about even amongst your colleagues, right?
Right.
You know, if you look at you know, you look at how many people had season tickets at Temple and South Florida and Memphis, and I'm going on about the American and in the previous Conference USA. But now you're in a league where Arizona State has more suites and club seats than we do. Okay. So if this thing is all about seating and parking, you'll never catch up.
Fair. I got you.
You know, that is you know, that's just the reality. I just use Arizona State as an example, but there has to be, we have to do it on our end. I'm challenging our donors and fan bases, but from a athletic department and Cougar Pride perspective, my team has to do a better job of telling the story of what our actual needs are. Okay. I want people to know what are our priorities, how can they help, you know, how can they jump on board and make an impact. We want it to be known. This is where your dollars, these are where your money is going. This is how we're utilizing these funds to really move the needle for us to inch closer and closer toward the top of this league, and not be so much, because, you know, I just think that, you know, I want us to become a national brand from a fundraising standpoint. You know, I want people that live in New York City or Los Angeles that are UH alums, that are UH supporters, that watch every game on TV. I want them to understand you can help from afar.
Okay.
And that has not, you know, historically been the case. It's been more of the people kind of in the Houston metro area, maybe San Antonio, maybe Austin, Dallas. But we have people all over the country and all over the world that have been very successful that can pour in that financial support to really help us move the needle.
And I'm not sure if you spoke with Garrett Classy, but he was kind enough to join me on this show 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And you and Garrett seem to be bringing different mindset, new ideas to UH. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes. And I think the mindset from that, and me and Garrett, of course, are aligned hand in hand with our thinking and kind of with our tasks on a daily basis and where we're trying to go. But I think me and Garrett have seen something that a lot of people have not seen. And that is understanding that there's going to be a week or a stretch in your football schedule where you're going to play 4 or 5 straight ranked teams. Mm-hmm. And in every sport, not just football, every sport.
Yeah.
And there has to be resources behind our programs to really make sure that our coaches have everything they need to prepare our student athletes for that challenge. And I'll never forget this past year in men's basketball, and Chris Jans, the coach there, came from New Mexico State. Mm-hmm. And he had that thing at New Mexico State rolling. Chris is, man, a phenomenal coach. When we hired him, we were all excited about it. But we had a stretch last year where we played Tennessee on a Saturday. We played Tennessee on Saturday, Alabama on Tuesday, and then we went to Auburn on the next Saturday. And Chris Jans, we lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And we were undefeated. And all of a sudden now you're 12-3. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden we went from, you know, being nationally ranked to now when Joe Lenardi updated it, we were first 4 out. And James was like, man, this is different. Right, it's different, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And I think, and that's something and that's why, you know, the level of intensity and the level of intensity has to be here for our entire department, no matter where you are on the org chart. Intensity has to be here. The sense of urgency has to be here, because every day we can't lose days. They're because everybody in our league is getting better every single day.
Right.
We have to do the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Another comment from Ms. Polk. This new mindset is exactly what we need. See, Alvin, she's got that we. I tell you, she is a true UH alum. What we need. Okay. I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
Saturday was a loss.
Huh?
Loss to Rice. Surprising loss to some disappointing loss. Have you noticed a change? You're talking about the mindset. Mm-hmm. You know, had negativity creeped in from donors, from fans supporting Mr. Franklin. I hear what you're saying, but man, we just lost to Rice. You know, I don't know if I want to support the team right now. Have you read into that so far yet this week?
Well, I think I don't want to say anger has been kind of the sentiment. I think that we've seen some level of disappointment. But I think what people understand, no one wants to win more than those kids do. You know, and I know people, you know, alums are, you know, passionate about their university and passionate about the program. But at the end of the day, this is about our student athletes, and they you know, they want to win just as bad as anybody, and our coaches as well. But this week we have seen, you know, some sentiment of disappointment, but I think also it's a lesson that, hey, we haven't created that gap yet.
Right.
That's the reality of where we are is, yeah, we have made a jump into a new league. There's no excuse, but so did Rice. Right. Right. They made it. Mm-hmm. Someone saw them worthy of jumping into a new league as well. And the reality is, right now, where it stands from a resource standpoint, and I don't want to make this where I'm on this show and I'm selling, right? But in a way, I kind of am.
But that's fine. That's one reason I want you on the show. Right.
From a resource standpoint, right now, budgetary wise, we're more closer to the group of 5 schools than we are to the top tier Power 5s.
Sure.
And so the reality is, until we continue to do this from a resource standpoint, and you're still kind of here, the upsets are more realistically, they're more realistic to happen. And that's just, that's where we are. That's just that's why we need more and more people to jump on board, tell everybody they know, hey, we need you.
That's fair. And I'm glad you're on today, and I invite you to come on as often as you are able to, because I want to do my part. Like I said, I'm a UH alum. I want to see my university shine in everything. Academics, athletics. If it has University of Houston on it, I want them to shine. I want us to shine. The last few years, there have been some bumps in the road and things of that sort, and I've been critical in certain areas because I've been privileged to cover the Big 12 teams, Big 12 conference, Big 12, big time athletics. So I see how big time athletics acts, and my alma mater is not there yet, and they're working to get there. And that's what I'm trying to help us do, is to get to that point where the talent level is top notch in everything, from professors to students to coaches to student athletes, all those things. And that's what I want to do. And I'm trying to do on this platform here. I thank AJ Jones for having me be on this show, to host this show on Thursdays, and hopefully another day this week. I haven't make it twice a week. But if I can have a little part of a show every week, the Houston Cougars Corner, whatever you want, whatever, to get the word out about my alma mater, I'm going to do so. No slight on Rice, TSU, HCU, and the other local schools in Houston. But first things first, my love to my school. And I'll talk about the Rockets and, Texans, Astros, all other, etc. What are some of your immediate goals that you like to accomplish the rest of this calendar year and then the rest of the season?
Well, first, let me back up before I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to tell you something that really was eye-opening for me. And we talk about setting the tone and being tone setters. Culture. That's kind of the flash word that's using, especially in athletics around the country, is what is your culture like? The thing, and I'm a big note taker. I take a lot of notes. Usually I carry these little cards around every game. I have little things on them that I want to observe. And the first thing that I observed on this past Saturday at Rice was when our team arrived at the stadium, there was not a Houston contingent there to welcome them. And that sets the tone, right? And so that's something that, it's something we're going to start promoting more. I noticed that. I said, man, and I kind of got that nervous feeling a little bit, like, man, I've been a student athlete before, and I know what it's like when you get off that bus and you're walking into a stadium and it's kind of quiet. It's the tailgate and there's not a lot of people in the parking lot, and it kind of gets that scrimmage practice mindset of like, how exciting is this today? Right. And, I get home and I turn on the TV. And I see that late game on Saturday was Auburn and Cal. Auburn and Cal. And they showed a clip of Auburn arriving at the stadium at Cal Berkeley. And we're talking about 3,000 miles away. And there were about 20,000 Auburn fans at Cal. And so when their team got off the bus, they did their whole Tiger Walk they normally do at their home games. Usually on the road, you just pull right up to the locker room.
Right.
They positioned them to pull up down the street so that they could do their entire Tiger Walk. And, that is where we're trying to get to.
Okay.
People understand, hey, this is it's bigger than when we make the Final Four or the Sweet 16 or, we get to big events. When we go on a road and you're there, hey, welcoming our team is essential. It's vital to setting the tone and creating that energy as our team arrives at the stadium. It's pivotal. So I just made sure I wanted to hit on that because you mentioned the Rice game and where we're trying to go. But for me, from a calendar standpoint, as I look at things right now, assessing what we do, how we've done it before, I kind of put it into kind of 3 buckets. You know, what the things that we've done well, what do we want to keep the same? Because come on, like Houston's done a lot of great things. So I'm not going to sit here and say I come in, I've been in the Big Ten, I've been in the SEC, and I'm just going to come in and just change everything. No, there's a lot of things. The bones are there. There's been a lot of success at this university and its athletic department. So I'm looking at what do we want to keep the same? What do we want to enhance? So what's been going just okay, but we can kind of go from here with it. What are those things? And then what are the things we want to throw away? Okay. So kind of assessing, I kind of got about 25, 30 line items. I'm looking at where do these items fall as far as those 3 categories. Staffing, looking at, you know, adding some more bodies to our Cougar Pride staff so we can have more outreach. And our goal is to have more outreach with people. And that's not, quote unquote, asking for money. You know, from a mindset standpoint, you know, usually when we sit down with people, we're asking them for money. And that's okay. But the mindset shift to we're going to have department needs on this hand, donor interest on this hand, and bring that together. All right. So we're going to do more listening. But in that listening, we want to educate our people. Hey, this is where we are as a department. These are all of our needs. And if we have donors that say, hey, you know, I'm interested in mental health, I'm interested in nutrition, we want to make sure we're providing our supporters with all the avenues possible to support their areas of interest.
Excellent, excellent. And another comment from Ms. Pope. I would love to welcome the team at away games.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
And you touched on it because Coach Kelvin Sampson said it, similar comments about the lack of UH alums for road games. It got better in the tournament, the Final Four runs, all those things. But to see that during road games, during the regular season, that'd be something to aim for, strive, because there are big time programs. You know who they are. Yeah. Fans of the show right now know who they are. When they come to town, it's like they take over the stadium.
Yeah.
Because you know who they are. Mm-hmm. And they travel deep.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing for UH to get to that point where the fans in whatever the city is. Yeah. that's gonna take a while. But that's, you know, as an alum here agrees, he touches on it. It takes years to establish that kind of culture. Mm-hmm. Yes. Gotta have that passion and persistence to make it happen. Yep. And I wish you the best of luck.
Yes. Thank you.
So I don't know your age, but I've dealt with apathy from UH alums for a long time. So you chip away at that and then start the fans believing and caring and investing in the athletics and the university back. Because one of the things I've started saying on these shows is you got a degree from UH. So you spent 4 or 5 years of your life going to the university. Continue to invest in the athletic department after you graduate. Mm-hmm. Don't just, once you got the paper, I'm done. You know, I mean, you chose the school for a reason, I think. So continue to invest in athletics and the school as an alum. That's part of it too.
Yes, and I've made this comments to people. You know, everybody's not a sports fan. Everyone's not. But what I want people to understand is that athletics is the front door to the university. You know, when athletics is winning, when athletics is highly competitive, people are proud to put on that UH polo when they're walking through an airport. They're proud to put on that lapel pin when they're going to a business meeting, or put something up in their office that represents their university. You know, and so those things matter. And, you know, if you're someone that says, I'm not a sports fan, I just care about, Bauer college business. Well, guess what? The success of Bauer sometimes leans on athletics because students have an interest in the university, usually when they see the success of the athletic department.
True.
And so that's huge for us, even with the people that don't, you know, quote unquote, I'm not a huge sports fans. We still need your support, because the higher level, you know, the more that athletics succeeds, the more the university succeeds.
Agreed. Gonna wrap it up with you, Mr. Alvin Franklin. Any closing comments from you? You want to touch on anything university has going on for this Saturday's game against TCU?
Well, you know, fun environment. Cougar Village will be, you know, we have a lot of cool sponsors out. We'll have a huge Coca-Cola's coming in town and doing a big tailgate this week. And have a lot of activations, fun activations around that. You know, it's a huge game, 7 o'clock kick. We need everyone there. We need everyone. It's going to, the energy in that stadium. Our kids have to feel that energy. You know, our commissioner is going to be here.
Right.
You know, for our commissioner to, you know, you don't want your commissioner leaving the stadium and feel like, man, I don't know if we made the right decision on this one. You know, he needs to walk out of the stadium and goes, man, this is a home run for us to bring U of H into this league. And then just my charts people, I'm around. People will see me at everything. And so, you know, people, you know, feel free to come up, say hello. You know, my contact information, of course, is on the website, on our UH website. But, you know, I'm open to have any type of conversation, any type of dialogue. People have ideas. You know, I love people that, quote unquote, people think that are opinionated, but that means they care. Yeah. So I'm always open to listening to those things. But we just need your support. And thank people that season ticket holders, all of our Cougar Pride members. Thank y'all so much for what you do.
Alvin Franklin, thank you very much for taking time to join me today on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Don't be a stranger. I'm serious. I'm extending the invitation to you, to Garrett Classy, to appear on this show as often as you possibly can.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have to be every week, but you want to hit me up, email me and say, Chris, I'd like to come on the show and talk 10 minutes. That's fine. I'm here for it. So thank you, Alvin.
Thank you.
And you take care. And you let me know, or I will hear from Miss Polk when you two meet. So you think, let me know when you meet her. Thank you, Alvin. You take care.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye. All right. I'm going to take a break before I bring in Coach Shereka Wright. She is joining me, and I hope she's ready to discuss the schedule. I'm going to take a quick break so you can see a little bit about what BS3 is all about as I play it. BS3 TV, streaming live on Roku. But BS3 TV, changing the way you watch TV. Be back in 90 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, X, YouTube, and Roku via the BS3 network. And I'm going to bring in this coach who I've known for a minute or two, Coach Shereka Wright, the head coach of UTA. Coach Wright, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good.
We got an echo,
I think.
Is it my echo or is it your echo?
But we'll figure it out. I
myself twice.
All right,
are you ready?
I feel. Here we go. Is that right?
Ooh, let's see. Yeah, you got it right.
All right.
And
is this
breaking news?
No, well, listen, we released this last week when I talked to you when it finally came out. And so, we were excited about our schedule. I am, obviously proud with our staff to sit down and really look at how we needed to prepare our teams. I felt like we learned a lot last year about our team and how we scheduled. And I'll be honest with you, I felt like, again, that schedule was very, very challenging for us. We learned a lot about ourselves. But one thing I would I'll say to you, and I talked to you about this before, I'm going to always continue to challenge our team. Preparation is important as we continue to prepare for the WAC conference, which I feel is one of the top conferences, especially within mid-major. So we compete night in and night out with some of the best teams in the conference. And so I feel like the non-conference is important to challenge us on the road. It's important to be able to play different teams that have different styles and to go and be uncomfortable. And I feel like this schedule will prepare us for that.
Well, let's break it down. First
the season at South Florida.
Yes, played South Florida here 2 years ago. A team with Coach, Jose, who's done a really good job with that program there, is obviously a powerhouse. And we will open up there. He has a really, really good team. Obviously, again, we talk about, styles of play. Offensively, he does some really, really good things. And so where it's going to challenge us is how do we be able to scheme defensively? And so that's going to be a great test for us to be able to go on the road and go into an environment where we'll challenge our players early.
Coach, when y'all hosted South Florida, who won?
We did. We played obviously a really, really good game. And, obviously, Coach Jose talked about just how well our team played and the things that we did. And obviously that it was a year that we went to the NCAA tournament and we ended up winning the Sun Belt Championship there. But it was the preparation piece. It was, again, we did some really, really good things in that game. And South Florida had just came off of 2 big wins on the road, in the tournament from there. So, again, we did what we needed to, and we took care of the little things in that game and came out not hitting a 3, which was, very, very interesting, from that standpoint. But I thought our kids did a really good job. We had some players come off the bench that contributed to that win. And so it was definitely a big time win for our program that year.
All right, next Lamar.
Yeah, so Lamar game will be our homecoming game. Coach Aqua is one of my good friends, great colleague, doing amazing things there. She obviously, her team is playing very well. They were, 1 game shy of winning their conference tournament to go into the NCAA tournament. But she's doing an amazing job with that team from top to bottom. They do really good things defensively. Offensively, she gets the most out of them. So tough, hard-nosed, just like how she was as a player at Texas A&M. And so it will be good to have them come and play us here for homecoming.
At Texas.
Oh, it's finally, this is my first time to be able to play at Texas since I've been here as a head coach. Obviously spent some time playing when I was in the Big 12 at Texas Tech, and Coach Schaefer, again, we know you're going to get a defensive minded team with good size and those things like that. So that's going to be good for us.
On the 18th, you host UTSA.
Same thing, Coach, Karen Aston, whose team is making progress. She's finally getting the players in to be able to play her style of play. And so, again, another in-state, team for us to be able to come up here and play. Again, different styles of play. I love the versatility of her team. And so definitely looking forward to them coming up here and challenging our team, especially after we've played, 3 really good teams in different styles.
And then going out to California for Thanksgiving.
Yes, it was important for me to go somewhere where an actual women's basketball program was hosting a tournament. I wanted to really focus on that. Last year, we went to Florida and participated in a tournament there, but I wanted to kind of challenge our team in a different, way. And I feel like we're playing two really good teams in Illinois State and NC, A&T, that, again, different styles. And again, it's right before, right after Thanksgiving. This is really going to be really good before we start conference play.
And speaking of it, you have what, six non-conference, then two conference games.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that work?
So we looked at the WAC schedule, and so we are now in a situation where we'll play, everybody twice. We had not done that prior to our first year last year. We didn't do that. And so one of the things that we as coaches looked at is that we wanted to not force our teams to kind of get back so quickly and play a game right after Christmas. And so what we looked at was to be able to put some of our conference games in November and some in December, to where we can get 2 games knocked out before, we come back after Christmas. And so I think it's challenging. It's different. You really get to focus on just what you're doing before you go back into non-conference. And so, yes, we will open at Abilene Christian, and then we will have Grand Canyon come here and play us.
And then after that, you go to Colorado.
Yes. Again, wanted to challenge our team, wanted to do something a little bit different. Going up to Colorado, another NCAA tournament team who obviously is really making the strides, made a deep run in the tournament last year. So, I am really, really excited to be able to go up there. Again, it's different for our players who've never been there. There's a lot of excitement around athletics there now in Colorado. So I am really, really excited to be able to take our team up there and play.
I'm going to change the screen. Let me see here. I want to bring you in. Okay. Sam Houston. Did I make a mistake? Is that a road game or is that a home game?
It's a road game.
Okay.
It's a road game. And so prior to us going into the WAC, we had already scheduled a home and home. Again, another good friend of mine is Raven Justice there. And so when we went into the WAC, we had to obviously switch that piece of it to where, hey, because now, we're in a conference, and so we play each other. And then with her going to Conference USA this year, it worked out for us to be able to come back and play that game. And so, again, I always enjoy playing, Coach Justice's team. Again, another hard-nosed team. They're going to get after you. We obviously had a thriller last year when we went into 2 overtimes against them here at home. And so this will be good for us to be able to travel down that way to play them, and to be able to continue to have some of our Houston fans to be able to come over and to watch.
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State, another team that was in our conference last year. And so we are involved in the Conference USA WAC Challenge. Okay. And so Jacksonville State went over. It's in that conference now. I'm getting to New Mexico State. Jacksonville State and New Mexico State are part of that challenge. And so we're doing 2 games. And so we have a game at home and we have a game on the road. Jacksonville State was in our conference last year. And so we have a chance for them to be able to come over and play us. And then we will, New Mexico State was. Then we'll go on the road to Jacksonville State. So I think those should be flipped. That's what I'm kind of looking at. So we would go, so New Mexico State would play us here. And then on Jacksonville, the 21st, we will finish up at Jacksonville State.
Gotcha.
All right.
How challenging was to put together this non-conference schedule?
Scheduling is always challenging, Chris, because it's timing. It is what's the right fit. You're talking facilities. There's all types of things that are involved in scheduling where, teams may say, hey, coach, we can't play this game this year. Can we reschedule that? We had some of that, ourselves. You also got to look at your roster. What did you lose from a year ago? How does your team shape up as your team new? What is it? You want to make sure that your team gains confidence with playing some of these teams. Can you play games at home? There's a lot of variables that you have to look at as coaches. And I'll tell you, from top to bottom on the men and women's side, they will tell you scheduling is very difficult. It's very tedious. And so you got to really make sure you take your time to look at some of those things. And so you either come out of it saying, man, we really messed up, or, hey, we really, really did a good job of putting this together. And so, when you look at it, you say, hey, we feel like this has been really good for us. and then we just kind of go from there. But the WAC pretty much took care of a lot of our stuff because, again, you know, the games that we're having to play and then the 2 games that they gave us in the Conference USA WAC Challenge. And so it kind of knocked out a lot of our games already. We're just trying to find the right timing for it.
How many conference games do y'all have in the WAC?
18.
18.
Yes.
How for non-conference? How much was money a factor for you paying opponents or for requesting money from opponents?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was difficult. I mean, I think what you look at is that you talk with your AD and, hey, what are we responsible for as far as guarantee games that we must get? And then looking at what monies we can, give to those teams to come and play us. And so, when you look at a lot of times, you're able to schedule home and homes. Lamar was a home and home. UTSA, we're starting our home and home series with them. We will do some closed scrimmages that, obviously we will not do an exhibition this year. But other than that, Sam was, again, like I said, a home and home. So it actually worked out well for us that, we're having to do that. I think you'll find a lot of coaches enjoy the home and homes because it works out perfect for you.
I'm glad you mentioned Coach Aqua and Coach Justice because that puts a bug in my ear to invite them on the show.
Yes, you need to have them on the show. They need to be on there. Again, it's important and I talked about this too, Chris, the other day. We have a lot of great mid-major programs that are doing great things. And we need to continue to get our coaches out here to talk about those things. There's storylines. We know storylines are big for women's basketball. And they have great things to be able to talk about what they're doing. And they're doing amazing things within their program right now.
And I covered Aqua when she played at A&M.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Coach Justice was at UH. So I've known both of them a long time.
So you got a lot of ties there. So you got to continue to make sure you do that. But like I said, Chris, I think that you would enjoy it. I think, like I said, your audience would enjoy it because everybody's viewpoints of how they approach their years, how they do scheduling is always interesting to kind of hear how, they go about scheduling. And so I know that I learn a lot from them. What they're doing. I know we talk a lot as friends and as colleagues, and all we want to do is make sure we see each other do well.
I'm going to try to do my part to help women's basketball grow.
Yes.
One thing I try to do.
You do. Yeah, Chris, I have to give you credit for that. You do an amazing job of making sure that you help grow that. Your information is vital. And, I just want to continue to encourage you to keep doing that because we need to make sure we have voices like you that's doing that for us.
Thank you very much. How is the team health-wise?
We're doing well. One of the things, Chris, that I wanted to focus on, here this summer is really balancing again, the work that we do and not, again, burning our players out early. I felt like, our season is so long, when you now have the summer stuff to do the things that you need to in the summer. Yes, we have a lot of new faces. But I think more so than anything is that one of the things that I've been, so excited about is that the camaraderie, the team chemistry that, we have with this roster. So I have been thoroughly impressed with that. It has been good. We've done some team building. We did some team building this past weekend with Markeisha Grant, who came in and really challenged our kids mentally and made us uncomfortable. And I think that was some things that was important. And she will continue to spend some time with us and helping us grow. But this, I think the biggest thing is that how do you blend new faces? How do you get a team to really mesh? And that takes time. And so, I've been harping on little things, small things. We say it every day. And we make sure that we don't skip that step.
Where will WAC Media Day be?
So it will still be based out of Arlington, but we will go basically from everybody's hometown. So we will hop on it live. It will be on ESPN3 and we will be able to do that. So definitely, I think it'll be a great piece for us to be able to talk about our programs, but we will also do some stuff in-house too. And so I will definitely make sure that you have that too, to be able to call in.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And now that the schedule part is done, you can still come back on the show and talk throughout the season if you want to.
Yeah, Chris, anytime that you want me to do that is fine. I think it would probably be a good time right before we open up non-conference to kind of be able to touch bases with you.
Excellent.
Excellent.
UTA
Coach
Shereka
Shereka Wright.
As always,
good to see you.
Good talk to you. You take
Thanks,
care.
Take care.
Thanks. You have a good one.
You too.
You too.
All right, we got about 4 minutes left in this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. We want to thank Alvin Franklin from UH and UTA head coach Shereka Wright. Touched on it. I'm going to read the statement or the transcript of Adam Silver, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, regarding the KPJ situation. This is from yesterday's press conference from the NBA Board of Governors, in which most of it was about the new league player participation policy. But this is about KPJ. Had 2 questions pertaining to KPJ. Question is long from a colleague. Kevin Porter Jr. is facing some pretty serious charges. The alleged details of that case, at least what we have seen reported so far, are pretty horrific. In the past, your league has been very deferential toward law enforcement and the judicial system, waiting for these things to play out before you step in or enforce any kind of discipline. Can you just elaborate on what that policy is right now and whether you expect that will be the same approach with this case? Will Kevin Porter be allowed to continue to practice and play when teams report at the end of this month? Commissioner Silver, answer. So 1, yes, the allegations here are horrific. No question about it. But I don't know anything more, of course, about the actual facts other than reading those allegations. We have a domestic violence policy that was collectively bargained with the Players Association. Again, when I say bargained, I mean not a contentious issue. They certainly feel as strongly as we do about the issue. Every case, though, also depends on its unique facts. I think here, when we're not in season, there's a little bit more of an opportunity to absorb what's happening before we act. I think if it were a case where we were in the middle of a season, we might be compelled to do something faster. So while ultimately we're required to be deferential to law enforcement when there is an investigation, and clearly there is an investigation now, I think this has given us the opportunity, because we're not in season, training camps haven't opened yet, to take a little bit of time here to better understand the situation. One thing I learned over many years of working on these cases is not to assume anything here and not just rely on headlines, but to try to truly understand what's happening here as a combination of what law enforcement has learned and direct interviews. We're still now in the process of gathering information. Second question, I want to follow up on that. By my understanding, a team and the league cannot both levy punishment for the same case at the same time. If you guys are undergoing your own investigation, will KPJ be available to participate and play once training camp and the preseason starts? Commissioner Silver. So there is, in essence, a double jeopardy provision. The league and the team can't act independently, but that's independent of whether or not he'll be made available. I mean, certainly, we and the team are talking to each other. While we're investigating, the team can't then go off and act independently. But sort of what I was suggesting, we have a bit of time to decide whether it will be appropriate for him to go to training camp or not. Well, training camp, Rockets Media Day, it should be October 3rd, I think. Well, training camp October 3rd, I think Media Day, October 2nd, something like that. I'll be shocked if Kevin Porter Jr. will be at any of that. I doubt the Rockets want to address any questions about that at Media Day if he's still on the team, and he'll just have a bunch of no comments. So we'll see how it all plays out. Again, the Athletic Shams Charania stated yesterday, Wednesday, 13th, that the Rockets are trying to trade KPJ. I have no idea what team, NBA team, would be willing to trade for him. Why give up anything, any assets for a young man with a lot of baggage. Why take that heat from public relations or anything? Even if it's a cap space filler, I just don't see it. But we'll see. We'll talk more about this. I'll talk more about this Friday on the next edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets. Rocket fans, join me on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Should be probably 7 p.m. Central. To Miss Wanda, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments, your compliments as well. D-Skills, thank you for your comments as well. Wise Citizens, thank you for opening the show. Hi to Miss Donna Holman, thank you also for chiming in for your comments. And of course, to AJ Jones for allowing me to host the show, host the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E. And of course, the BS3 Network. You can watch it on Roku with that BS3 TV app. Download it. Go to bs3network.com. If you don't have the app, of course, go to Roku and get the app. So to everyone, see you next week. Again, thank you to Mr. Alvin Franklin and UTA head coach Shereka Wright for joining me today on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E. And in closing, as always, the Houston Roundball Review since 1994. Local name, global perspective. Y'all take care. Peace.